doing?
I'm doing good. How about you, Michael?
I'm good, thanks. So I'll give you just like a little intro and then we'll get started so I don't waste any time, right? Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Hey guys, how's it going? Michael Troy here. I'm super excited to bring you this chat today. We are talking with Nick Cagnetti of Pink Lemonade fame. One of the uh, most exciting new comic books I've read in a long time from one of the most exciting new creators that I've discovered recently. Admittedly, you have been on my radar. I've seen like little pieces of Pink Lemonade here and there, and a lot of the social circles that I am in speak highly of your work. And I am so late to the game. When I saw you promoting Pink Lemonade, that is number 5, that is out now at the time of this interview. Looking for reviews, I was like, oh, I should definitely review that. I've been sitting on it, and I thought, well, why not ask you for an interview? I thought, you seem like a great, insightful creator with a super fresh voice, and I'm super excited to talk to you. So thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
So, Pink Lemonade is obviously, I feel like, sort of like your breakout project, but it is not the first comic book you've worked on, correct? Didn't you
Oh,
have a couple of more before that?
oh yeah, I've been at it for a while here. I've been making comics pretty seriously for about a decade now, actually, and it sort of started as I was exiting high school. My first thing that I tried doing was a little thing with a friend called Radical Force Extreme, which was a 90s parody thing. And my art skills just could not pull off the parody well enough at that point. So I just did 7 pages or so, and I looked at them and I'm just like, this doesn't look too good. So I put it on the back burner, and my friend and I started something else from there in college called Infinite Wonders, which was a kind of an offbeat superhero kind of book, done the way that we wanted to do them because at the time there was that shift sort of happening with more cinematic style superhero stuff with it's kind of very serious, and costumes were like getting more overly detailed and stuff, and we just kind of wanted to do like a little throwback kind of thing, but that was fun. We did a handful of issues of that, and every one I could see. Thankfully, I was growing from issue to issue, which was fun to see. And after that, I did a horror romance book with another one of my friends called The Spirit of the Shadows, which was really fun time because again, I wasn't sure of my artistic capabilities or anything. So I was just going for the craziest possible layouts possible, and they were just kind of all over the place looking, but it was a fun project, and we did a lot of stuff with that character. My friend and I even did a little short film with that character. My grandma made the costume for me, and I had to wear the thing, and it was very uncomfortable because there was like these ribbon wires with metal that were like poking all around into the suit and into me, and I'm just like walking around uncomfortable like a monster. Um, and I could relate in that moment, but that was fun. And after doing the spirit stuff, I started doing Pink Lemonade from there. That started with comic strips. Yeah.
I have to say you're blowing my mind already for a couple of different reasons. First of all, horror romance like is the most amazing thing I've ever heard in my life. And secondly, it sounds like your first project, with the extreme theme and everything like that sounds like it was very influenced by like 90s image and like that hyper detailed kind of art. And you said you had difficulty pulling that off, which does not surprise me because looking at your art, it is anything, it is open, it is bright, it is, just very you know, I don't know, design oriented in a lot of ways, and so far removed from that image style. So
Sure.
I have to ask, so was that sort of image style your introduction to comics? Was that what drew you to comics, and who were some of what you felt like were your influences or the artists that you were drawn to?
Yeah, honestly, the image house style sort of it wasn't one of the major draws for me for comic books initially. Although I have a love for that style to be sure, but I was always more attracted to artists like Darwin Cook and Mike Allred for sure. The Steve Ditkos of the world. Honestly, some of the earliest stuff I ever read, like before I even really knew how to read, were the big phone book essentials that Marvel was putting out in the late '90s. And I had the first one with the early Lee and Ditko stuff for Spider-Man, and I just loved it from there. Um, I honestly lots of books like that, just going through the old stuff, whatever reprints they had out in the late '90s of all the classics, even some of those later essentials. When I was like 4 or 5, I would be coloring in with crayons, and because those came in black and white, and I have some of those essentials somewhere. They're just doodled in with crayons, looking all horribly inside there now. But I always was attracted to comic book art that felt like kind of warm and inviting or quirky and offbeat, stuff like that, I suppose.
It's funny that you should say that because when I started reading Pink Lemonade, a lot of the aesthetic, like I see the Mike Allred, I see a little David Lapham, I see. I initially thought Kirby, as far as like the power and the dynamic layouts and just sort of the um, reverence for traditional comic book art. But then the more I got into it, I was like, oh my God, this is so Ditko. Like this is so amazing. Um, it's like such a great quirky character because her civilian identity. It's like such a great book because it really combines a lot of like traditional like there's a really great I can tell you have such a love and reading those essential books. I can see that now because you have such a love and reverence for traditional comic books. There's a lot of tropes in there, like the fact that she's sort of like this character who doesn't know where she came from, is like a blank slate, which is always so appealing. And she's very human, but she's quirky at the same time with this like alien, looking sort of motorcycle helmet. And so maybe talk a little bit about your inspiration for this character and how she kind of came together.
Yeah, well, after finishing that Spirit of the Shadows thing, that was like my biggest project to that date, and it was, I was very proud to do it, but it was also very exhausting at the same time. So I needed to do a shift. So I went to uh, decide to do comic strips from there, like hand painted little comic strips, just to sort of, refresh myself in a way and try and get a lot of the thoughts that I had in my head at the time out through a character that could kind of represent all those things. And that's sort of where Pink Lemonade came from, was just, I was going through college at the time, and there's some eye-opening moments of things can be a little hard, and life can be rough sometimes, and I I started thinking about how you know we sometimes lose that spark we get in life, or where we have that that wonderment and as we do as like kids and stuff, that that love for life in general, you know. And for me, a big part of Pink Lemonade character was sort of grappling with that, just trying to maintain that hold on that happiness, that pure light that the you know that we see as like kids and stuff, and just sort of trying to reconnect with those kinds of feelings, like when you pick up a comic as a kid and you see those things and like you know, you see Spider-Man for the first time as like a little kid. You love the iconography, the costume that Steve Ditko created, and just the feelings like stuff like that can bring. Like was like right at the forefront of my brain when I was coming up with this stuff. Just because like I felt like it was sort of I needed to do something that was just, you know, wrestling with all those things in my head, and that's just sort of what came out.
I mean, I think it's brilliant in so many ways. It is so optimistic, and there are such great messages. It's like I feel like I'm reading it, and it's like sometimes I stop myself, and I'm just like, I feel just so inspired by some of the great little nuggets that sh either the story or she herself or whatever presents, just sort of like whispers in your ear on like how to be a good person, or just reminders of positivity. And it seems like such a great comic book that I feel like it's kind of one of those things that you didn't know you needed, but it's so necessary. You know what I mean? It's like I
Yeah,
feel like it's so successful as like an all ages comic book. It's so appealing on so many levels, and I just think you nailed it like so well. And it just so you started it out as a Kickstarter, which is astonishing to me because it seems so polished and so professional and so like put together. And this is just you, like no editor, no.
yeah. At the time, it was I finished the whole run of the comic strips at the 2018. I finished the whole run of the comic strips, and from there, it sort of became a moment where I had brought what I was doing there full circle in a way, and it sort of morphed to a point where it was like I need to take this to full books again. Like the story was just growing too big for to be contained to the strip format at that point. So I didn't really have any real writing experience besides just doing those comic strips. So it was a real moment of feeling like I got to do this right. So I did full scripts for the first time, and was just like uh, being real proper about it because I wanted it to feel, you know, right. So from there, I just started working on the first issue, and my goal was just to make it the most polished work I did to at that point, because all the stuff I was doing before that, I felt, you know, I was proud of, but I felt like it was sort of lacking that last extra bit of polish. So that was a big focus going into that first issue. And after finishing that, the I the book got picked up by It's Alive's Drew Ford, uh, and he was running those crowdfunding campaigns, and the book was also coming out through Diamond at the time too. So it was an interesting experience for sure, because up until then I was just sort of off in my corner for like 5 6 years just doing this stuff up until then.
Well, and it really does just feel super, super polished. So what is your creative process like? Because I feel like there's so many different ways to work. It's like I remember reading an interview with Todd McFarlane, and him talking about how he just like randomly drew the pages and just like threw them out on the floor and started scripting them. And obviously, this seems a lot more I don't know, thought out than that.
Yeah, it's interesting because that's sort of how I approached the comic strips like before that because I didn't know what I was doing, so I'm just like, I'll see where this goes. And then by the time I got to the end of those, I kept thinking and thinking about where it was going, and it was just getting too crazy. So I needed to collect my thoughts more and like start planning it out for real. And from there, I wrote the script. I got friends to look over it and make sure it made sense. And the first time I read it to everybody, they were sitting there like totally exhausted and not ready to hear this crazy rambling of the script of I said I'm working on. They're like, what is this? But I, I went from there and just sort of started working on it, do thumbnails for each page, and sort of go from it from there. But uh, some of the issues, though, sometimes I would pencil every page before inking anything, and then sometimes I would pencil a page and then ink that page, and then go on to the next one and repeat that. It was really just kind of whatever was feeling right at the moment, whatever would help me move quicker through the process.
Are you penciling traditionally? Or are you doing all digital or?
This is the first thing that I've done that's all digital. So it was an interesting process for sure, just sort of acquainting myself with that. But it was I feel like it was the thing that I needed to help get that extra polish to the work, and it's been fun learning that stuff because before that I was just doing totally traditional, but now it's fun to have kind of both of them at my fingertips, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I feel like, any artist uh, is always, picking up crayons or whatever they can draw with. So, whatever medium you can use. One of the exciting aspects of Pink Lemonade for me is the sort of Hollywood aspect. I live in West Hollywood. I came here to be an actor. There's this storyline where Pink Lemonade is being exploited by this movie mogul, and it feels so authentic. So I'm just wondering where, like, do you have like this interest in the movie industry, or where did that come from?
I'd say a lot of it is just sort of
Because aren't
as
you,
a
did I read that you were an actor yourself too, though?
not like really. I mostly did stuff in some of my friends' productions locally here and helped work out on those sets. But and those were a lot of fun to do. But I don't really consider myself an actor, but I think that that stuff being in there is sort of just a byproduct of growing up in the world today, being a fan of comic books, it's, invariably you're around all this culture of entertainment and entertainment media. And if you're hooked into it too much, you start seeing like all the negative sides of things, like, you know, fans online being crazy sometimes and just the behind the scenes stuff going crazy. And it can be a little dispiriting because I just want to make stuff that I am proud of. And it's hard when there's like forces like that are always out there, and they've always been out there, like especially even in the comic industry and any creative field. There's just always forces like that are trying to take advantage of those things. And I felt like that's sort of the struggle there for Pink Lemonade, because she's the opposite of everything that sort of stuff stands for. And the trick for me was putting her through lots of hardships and difficult stuff around that sphere, and trying to see if she could come out still with that spark in her eyes,
Yeah, it's funny as a creator, I think that's one of the hardest things, but the best things to do is to torture your characters. You know what I mean? It's like you really have to, like, I always, in a lot of the reviews I do of the old X-Men comic books and stuff, I always cite my love and of the way Chris Claremont wrote Storm in the X-Men. It's like he really, really put her through the mill, like to the point of like me wishing horrible things on him and just like being like, how dare he? But at the end of the day, it's like once you see how this character has, grown and learn and become like so real through their trials and tribulations. Um, that's such a good point. It's like because I feel like Pink Lemonade is like such this blank slate. And even though we don't know where she came as from or where she's going or what her true purpose is, she just comes from this place of good. Like, it's like goodness is innate within her, which reminds me of a question I had for you. I felt like reading this, it's like, I mean, pink is often associated with girls. We'll talk about the colors later because I'm freaking mind blown and in love with your color palette. But this could have easily been like a male protagonist for your story. Was it important? Like, what kind of thought went into making a female protagonist? Since there aren't a ton of them, and they traditionally don't sell as well as male protagonists. So
Yeah, well, I think initially part of that came from, everything I'd done up to that point was all, male protagonists. I was kind of, I was just kind of sick of doing stuff like that, and I wanted some. I agree. There aren't enough female protagonists in comics, and that was another reason why. And I just felt like a character like that could really sort of embody these feelings best on the page. Um, yeah, I mean, I think it's just as simple as those reasons for me. It just felt right to do.
I mean, she just seems like such a great, female empowerment character. Like I can see little girls just like loving and like being so drawn to this character, and
Yeah, I mean
their mothers being terrified that they all want to drive motorcycles.
that's true. My grandma, when I was first starting to do Pink Lemonade, she's like, "Oh no, the motorcycles." But yeah, no, I mean, I did want to create a character that could hopefully be positive for younger readers, especially younger girls and stuff like that. So, I mean, taking the book to Oni, that's certainly a hope. Is that it finds a younger audience with the trades and stuff. Hopefully down the line.
So how did this book wind up at Oni? So you're doing how many issues? You did the whole, like all 6 issues through Kickstarter or?
Nope, only the first two.
Okay.
And after that, it was early 2020. Things kind of got a mess in just in general.
What do you
And
mean? I'm just kidding.
yeah, uh, so I decided to shop the book around, and thankfully the publisher was okay with it and supportive, and I just sort of kept going from there, chipping away at the books, working on other books too with some folks. I did a fun little collaboration book with another cartoonist, Jamie Jones, and his character, the baboon. We did like a fun little team up book. Uh, that
Was that just like a Kickstarter comic?
it was, yeah. Uh, but that was just a fun little palate cleanser in a way to sort of get back to it. Um, but yeah, I kept working on it, and it was a little bit difficult because there was uncertainty of what am I going to do with the rest of these now? Like I want to try and get it to even more people, but I didn't know how. So I just kept working, and I finished up the third issue. And I just sort of posted on social media one day. I said, "Hey, I just finished the third one. Is any publishers out there and want to publish this?" And I got a message from an editor at Oni that same day and said, it was sort of a fortuitous moment of sort of everything sort of happening for a reason, because that editor picked up the first issue when it initially came out from the prior publisher at their local shop and just sort of held on to it. So, it sort of came full circle in a way. They're like, we can publish it over here at Oni. And that was nice. But all throughout that process, there was a lot of there was still a lot of uncertainty for me, because it was a very long process of getting that stuff finalized. And even in between, there was shopping it around. There was a few there was a few offers that came in, and from some other publishers, and I wasn't too comfortable with some of those contracts. The word one of the publishers used was ironclad for describing, like, that they wouldn't budge on like any negotiations at all for anything.
Image Comics. I'm just kidding. I know you won't say.
No, it wasn't Image. But yeah, that was very hard to see, kind of. And there's a funny thing where in one of the later issues of Pink Lemonade, where I literally take one of those contracts I rejected and the whole verbiage word for word, and just sort of recreate it on the page. That was a fun thing for me to do there. But
How meta. I love it.
but eventually Oni got finalized, and it went from there. It was a bit of a rocky experience last year with unfortunately all the layoffs that hit them, but this stuff's coming out, so it's been pretty good.
Yeah, good. What was I gonna say? Oh, it's funny because it kind of reminds me of the show Shark Tank. It's like you build your business, and then a big shark comes and like blows you up in a way.
Yeah,
But then they take a big chunk of you. So hopefully you have a big chunk left. But
yeah. It was a process for sure, jumping
did
around.
did they ask for any changes? Did you have to make any changes before like they published? Like, is there a difference between the first issue that came out in Kickstarter versus the first issue that came out through Oni?
Very minor differences. I took the opportunity to do a few tiny fixes in some areas in the art. Uh, there's like one panel in issue one where Ron Radical's standing behind a car, like real angry looking. In the original, I really never liked how he looked in that drawing, and I got the opportunity to fix that for the Oni version. And the books got relettered by Francois Vignault, which I was really happy about, because that was one aspect of the original versions that I didn't feel so strongly about, was my lettering. I'd been hand lettering for pretty much all the things I'd done up to that point, but I I'm no Don Simpson when it comes to the hand lettering. I'm not as good.
It's
Uh,
Don Simpson, frickin' Don Simpson always finds his way
yeah,
into my videos somehow, and he is the master of the hand lettering. And But I have to say, like he almost inspires me to want a hand letter just because it's just like I don't know, it's just so beautiful. It's like it's such a part of the craft. But I'm willing to surrender it. I can't letter. I hate lettering. But you're right. It is so important. In so many of my reviews, I say, and it is so important just to have like a package deal and comic books. It's like you can argue the importance of this versus that, but it is a package deal. It is a visual medium. The lettering counts, the art counts, the everything counts
Absolutely. I mean,
in
that's
large
one.
amounts.
Yeah, and that's one thing. Like, I wanted to use the opportunity of having the Oni folks working on the book with me. Is they're offering we could get somebody to re-letter this for you and make it extra spiffier. And I was real happy about that because it ended up making the thing look even tighter, I think. And especially in issue 5, I think Francois really knocked it out of the park on the letters because there's so much shifting with the art styles in issue 5, and the lettering reflects that in every single situation in ways that I wouldn't have even thought of doing, honestly. So it was really nice to see.
Well, I'm embarrassed to say that I've just finished issue 3 before our chat because I haven't had time, but because I didn't want to
So
like jump ahead, but
I
I
won't
will
spoil anything for you. Don't worry.
for any of the audience out there. So I love the design of Pink Lemonade. I think it is so fresh and unique. And what was the inspiration? I feel like the helmet in a way, and I'm gonna get the reference wrong, but it gives me some sort of like judo Japanese kind of thing a little bit. Am I wrong there?
I'm not sure because honestly, the earliest inclinations I had to do like a motorcycle themed thing was like I'd seen some real cool music video at the time, and I was just sort of like uh oh my, this helmet's popping in.
Hey,
Um uh but this sort of came from just watching like a music video of some motorcyclist. He was wearing like all red, and he looked cool. I'm like, I want to do a cool motorcycle character. It was just like this badass looking guy in a motorcycle outfit driving around and like beating people up in like a nightclub and stuff. I believe the music video is called Slumlord. But what was funny to me is like Pink Lemonade and everything around that could like not be further from what I just described in that music video. So it was
Yeah.
it was just sort of like coming to terms of coolness in like her own sort of way.
I know. I definitely like just hearing you tell that story. Like my eye was kind of spinning around in my socket because it's like you that does not seem at all like what the inspiration for Pink Lemonade would be. And I love your ability to sort of see the world through your own lens.
Yeah, it
um,
was fun, but
I feel like is part of the benefit of being at Oni, aren't they pretty good about movie rights and licensing and stuff like that? So are we looking forward to a Pink Lemonade Netflix series, movie, cartoon adaptation, or is nothing like that even on the horizon yet?
I'm not sure. Probably nothing on the horizon as far as I know, but who
As far as
knows? Yeah, I mean, I think the books are doing all right in sales. I don't know anything concretely, but I hear it's doing pretty decent. So
well,
um
I feel like once people catch wind of it, it will definitely explode. And that was why I couldn't wait to interview you and help support this project and get the word out because it is, like I said, it is just so fresh and fun and unexpected and just like really magical. You I'm always envious of creators because I think it's hard enough to sort of tell stories in our world that already exists, let alone sort of create this fantasy world with all these like amazing different characters. Although I guess it is like sort of our world, but it feels decidedly different. You know what I mean? It just
Yeah,
feels
there's a bit of a surreal kind of quality at times there with just the way certain characters might interact with each other, I think. And I don't know, I'd like to think it wouldn't be so strange to see, honestly, just people, being nice to each other like that. And that was one thing that was really fun for me was the Ron Radical character in particular. That that was the character from that earliest thing I mentioned that I had worked on back in high school, the Radical Force Extreme thing. That character was just stored up for like a decade and saved for this project, and sort of got a new life there, uh, but still sort of in line with what the idea was originally, but taking it in a different direction. Uh, sort of what was fun there for me was just the idea of, you see this guy who's just kind of looks, you think he's like this angry dude, but he's got more under the surface. He's just kind of sad with his lot in life at the moment. And the fun thing for me was getting Pink Lemonade in there to swoop in and sort of like tell him, you don't have to do this if you don't want to, Ron. And that kind of stuff was just fun because trying to give the characters like a new lease on life in a way.
that's like a perfect example of like how great the messaging is in Pink Lemonade. It's like I feel like you convey these great messages with sort of without beating people over the head with it. It's like you're not like be positive, god damn it. You know what I mean? You're like, here's an example of kindness and positivity. Take from it what you will. You know what I mean? I really appreciate that. I also appreciate, I love Ron Radical. He's an amazing character. I love, coupled with Starless Swanson, the whole nod to the alliterative names of like side characters, the double S and the double R. I love his mullet. I love the fact that he was able to transform himself through his inner artist and uh, maintain sort of consistent to that. And his quick turnaround just goes to show, like, how negative thinking is in many ways just a state of mind, and how you really do have the power to change it.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
damn you for like all these crazy messages in this like crazy, silly little beautiful comic book. Like, I really do just think it's just so amazing and everyone needs to know about it.
I appreciate it. I mean, it's certainly something that's goes through my head as I've been working on all these books, is trying to do this stuff and just be honest about it, not overdo anything, or not be, because it's easy to step into to the realm of like being disingenuous with these things, I think. But that was certainly at the forefront of every decision that I was making with all these books, was just to be true to what I was, going for.
So what is Pink Lemonade like your Spider-Man, your Savage Dragon, your Spawn? Will you continue with Pink Lemonade, or are there other stories you want to tell?
Um, I can see myself easily, well, wanting to do more with Pink Lemonade, because the character is just so much fun to write and draw and just exist with. I feel like the character has improved my life, just working on it, just trying to live by how she lives. But Immediately, I'm planning on sort of sidestepping a bit and doing a little something different before if I do any more pink lemonade. I feel like it's good to do little pivots creatively sometimes, and that's what I'm working out at the moment. And it'll probably take a while because this book took a while too, but uh, I think I just gotta just keep doing it, I think.
Yeah. Any calls from Marvel or DC? I like if I were an editor there, I'd be like, I need a variant cover from this guy for like Tradmore's Doctor Strange, or I don't even know what, but I would definitely be having you do like variant covers. So
That would be a dream. I haven't heard from anybody, but I would love to.
oh,
I would
okay, well, good.
absolutely
Putting
love
it
to.
out there in the universe that a Nick is available for some gorgeous variant covers. Who are some of your favorite mainstream characters?
Man, Spider-Man for sure. He's always been my favorite. Let's see, Daredevil's another one. Always like Daredevil. I love the Thing from Fantastic Four. Can't go wrong with Ben Grimm. Um, let's see, from DC, I like Etrigan the Demon. I like Deadman. Um, I love
Your dead
Hellboy.
man would be like next level. I feel like DC
Yeah,
give Nick a dead man black label miniseries. There you go.
those are probably some of my favorites from the big two.
Um, so you cited Mike Allred as one of your influences, and I think because I was watching like brief clips of like interviews with you and stuff, and you had mentioned that he was aware of Pink Lemonade and liked it, and that was like very exciting for you.
Yeah,
So
I
did you hear from him directly, or?
I had met him originally at the local Comic Con here in Arizona about like a decade ago. I met him and Laura. They were here. He signed a book for me. They were really lovely. We were talking about a furniture store here for the most part of the conversation, which was fun. Um, and then I think a year or two after that, I was at San Diego Comic Con waiting for a portfolio review, and I was just sort of falling asleep in my seat because it was taking a long time, and I was just dozing off, and I was wearing a Madman shirt. I heard somebody above me say like, "Nice shirt," and I opened up my eyes, and it was Mike and Laura standing there. And I just sprung up. I'm like, "Wow!" I'm like, "Yeah, I got it off your shop." And they remembered me from the previous year, and we had a nice little conversation, and they had to get to a panel, and they wished me good luck on the portfolio review and everything, which was it was cool. And then a few years after that, my publisher at It's Alive, he managed to send the books over to the book over to Mike Allred, and he got to check it out from there, which was really nice.
That is so cool. I mean, that is like pretty surreal, like falling asleep with a Madman t-shirt on, and then Mike Allred is the one who wakes you up. I mean, you
Only
can't
at
write
San
stuff like
Diego.
that. Yeah, exactly. I know anything's possible at San Diego Comic Con for sure.
Yeah,
How many so how did that portfolio review go?
it surprised me. It actually went pretty well, but nothing came from it. They were really taken aback by I brought lots of pages from Spirit of the Shadows and Infinite Wonders, and they were blown. They told me they were blown away by like the storytelling and like the panels with the crazy layouts, which was nice to hear because I wasn't sure at the time, like if I was just making craziness that was just crazy, and if it didn't make any sense. Uh, but yeah, I mean, they gave me their cards and everything, but nothing ever came up. But and that's just what happens sometimes. But I was just thrilled that they were so into it, you know?
Well, I think that you're a living proof that, to aspiring comic book artists, I think that just the nature of the game these days is your best. Even back in the day, 100 years ago, when I was, first starting to try to aspire as an artist and stuff, the best route was still to self-publish your own book and to prove that you could do it. You know what I mean? Because the industry is so different now. So it's like you do your book on Kickstarter, and then it becomes a success. And I say, hey, you just keep on doing it and keep on keeping on. If you can make your own money and keep that alive, it is a lot of work, though. You know what I mean? I do see the benefit of having a publishing house behind you, the distribution. I mean, I feel like Kickstarter, you limit your audience in a way that if you were not part of the Kickstarter, then you miss out on the book, whereas
Yeah,
if Oni publishes it, I still have the chance to find it
exactly.
better, probably somewhere else. But I
Yeah,
just think, it's just like such a great way to go. And like some of my favorite comic books in the past couple of years have been like Kickstarter comics. Like I feel like some of the greatest voices from some of the greatest creators are people who just want it so bad they're willing to put forth blood, sweat, and tears like you did
yeah.
to make it happen. So I'm glad
It,
you're getting some of the benefits of your hard work now.
I appreciate it. It's definitely been very gratifying the last year, especially just having the sort of foundation of this stuff, having a date and coming out now, and because there was so many times of just is this ever gonna come out? Am I gonna get this stuff done? And there's a lot of that, but I'm happy that there's light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak.
Yes, and that speaks to something else that it takes, and that is the tenacity which you have. It's just like Kim Kardashian recently said, you have to get off your ass and work, girls.
Yeah, I remember that.
um, your book is so great, and I love it so much, and I'm so happy for you, and I wish you so much continued success, and I'm so honored and happy that you took the time to talk with me today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, you're welcome. Is there any projects coming up, or I guess we just have, is the sixth issue of Pink Lemonade the final of the initial arc? And
Yeah,
when will,
yeah.
so number five, because by the time this art interview comes out, number five will be on the stands. I urge you all to find this book and buy it and just spread the word. I feel like this is a book that would really benefit from word of mouth. You know what I mean? Because uh, just like all the friends that I know who have experienced this book and people talking about it, it really is just a joyous book that I don't think you can quite explain to somebody unless they read
It's
it for
definitely a
themselves.
hard book to explain.
So I
Having
think it's
having to
definitely,
pitch having to pitch the book is was difficult at times, just coming up with a succinct way to describe it. But
but
I
it's
think
so accessible. I'm immediately drawn in. Oh, and but before we go, the one last thing I want to talk to you about because it's so important to me is, and one of the most appealing parts about the book is the color palette. What is your color inspiration? What is how? Tell me about your color.
I mean, I just love super colorful things. I love, I mean, the printing process these days, you got so much access to so many different kinds of things you can put on the page. But I think for me, it was just trying to have bold, flat, sometimes like slightly shaded characters and sort of try to make it as bold as possible, just because I've gone from doing the strips, which were painted, and those were like really colorful and in your face. And by the time I got to the end of those, I started ramping up like the saturation even more and just making it even more of like a visual in your face kind of thing. So part of it is just sort of trying to maintain that, but also not make it go like too unappealing for the eyes to just sort of take it all in. But although there are moments where I really like to let loose and just have the colors be just absolutely crazy, like there's that one moment in number 3 with the art gallery with just the crazy colors all over the place. Uh, I feel like just being, you know, making comic books, I feel like I don't want to be making stuff that's like drab looking, you know. I want it to be fun.
Amen to that. And I
Yeah.
think that is comics should be fun, and that is I can't think of a better way to end this. So
Uh,
thank you so much, Nick, for talking to me today. I am so happy that I discovered your work and finally dived into it. And I urge everyone to seek out Pink Lemonade and keep your eye on Nick Cagnetti, because you are like one of the best, most unique voices in comic books, I feel, right now. And I celebrate you.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. All right. Thanks, everybody. Look out for Nick, and I will talk to you guys later. Take care. All right. See you later. Bye, Nick. All right.
Bye.
So I guess we're done. But so I'll probably post it pretty soon, and I'll send you a link. All right.
Sounds great.
It was really cool talking to you. You're so awesome. I love your positive message. You're a great guy.
Thank you. I can't
All
wait
right.
to see what you think of number 5 in particular, because that one is my favorite one from the whole series right there. That
Oh, is
one,
it?
yeah.
I'll let you know as soon as I read it.
Thank you.
All right. Well, enjoy the rest of your day. I'll text you later, Nick. Okay.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Bye now.
Bye.